All right, what's happening, Ward Wrestling Live, the Wrestling Nation, everybody out there at home. Once again, I just want to say thank you for all your support with the show and just getting wrestling out there into the public. I'm here today with some amazing men in our sport, amazing athletes, amazing, obviously smart. They're at Stanford, and we're just here to discuss. Stanford wrestling, what's going on there, what happened, and is there a way that we can save it and keep it? We've got keeping it real Woods. See, I got it right. Real Woods. I learned how to do that. We've got Nick up top. We've got Gabe in the middle. We got Judah on the right side, and we got young Desario down there at the bottom, right? And anyway, first things first, thank you so much for coming on. Absolute honor to have all you guys. Obviously, I'm very sorry to hear about your program, and hopefully we can turn that the other way around. I was speaking with Coach Reyna up at Penn, and I think their dean or whatever there is in charge of all the ADs across the country. So I know that she's trying to do things to kind of prevent this from going south. But I know obviously we're here to talk Stanford wrestling and how to protect it, how to save it. First things first, though, with the coronavirus and everything, obviously it's affected everyone. Have you guys still been able to kind of train on your own, do things on your own, or has this kind of thrown a curveball in everything and your mind is kind of on something else right now? Go ahead, Luke. Sorry.
So at first, it was tough because a lot of the gyms just closed right away. And there wasn't really anywhere to go. So previous training situations were kind of off the table at that point. But, as everything else kind of transpired, we were all just forced to adapt and find a new solution. So whether that means, just training on your own or, training somewhere else, we all just kind of had to do that on our own.
Wow. So how about you, Real? I know you've been out doing some camps, right?
Yeah. So when the whole COVID thing started, I just stayed on campus for the spring quarter, and found some some places to train out there. Training really surprisingly hasn't been a problem for me. But then I came back home, and I hear an echo. It's kind of annoying. Anyway, I came back home and I have Jackson's gym out here. Training periodically with them. Did a little wrestling is life camp out here. Brought a few teammates out here, people from around the country, even a kid from Hawaii. But brought a lot of kids together, and did a good little week of training, and then I've just been doing my own thing now.
Awesome, man. Judah?
Yeah, I went back home and I didn't really have any access. Well, I had access to a gym at first, and then they all closed down. And so I just started figuring out basically bodyweight stuff I could do in the backyard and just finding whatever I could to lift, find branches, do pull-ups on, just whatever. I reached out to other people just kind of see what different bodyweight stuff they were doing or stuff they could do without a gym. Different stand motion drills, just kind of trying to explore every avenue in which you could kind of get better. It was just, our hardest part was just finding a training partner, which eventually I'm actually in Oregon right now. So I live in Georgia, but I came out to Oregon because one of my teammates, Hayden Maley, are heavyweights out here. So I've been training with him now, which has been great.
Oh, well, very cool. I had a guy on earlier today that's training MMA out there in Portland. He was a Florida State champion, Tobias, and it was cool. He said, be careful of that Northwest man up there. They got some ballers. So, Gabe.
Yeah, man. Yeah, like at first, it's kind of crazy with the COVID stuff. We all got sent home. But, yeah, with the training, it wasn't too bad. Kind of went back to your roots, just, running mountains, hills, trails in the backyard and around Colorado where I'm from. And then as some other guys also got sent home, like Deacon and kind of Fine Silvers and whatnot, started to hook up with them and been wrestling with them just about every day, and flew out some other teammates to come down. And so, just had to get creative with it in the beginning, and now just kind of still figuring it out and see what the next steps will be for training and moving forward. So it's been good though, been solid.
Awesome. Jackson, are you back in Georgia? I think that's where you guys live, right?
Yeah. So, I mean, Georgia, luckily, like, I don't know if it was the smartest thing or not, but we opened up pretty early. And so all the clubs and stuff down here that I trained at in high school are already back open. And then before they were able to open back up, I was able to, luckily, like, one of my friends that's a good training partner, he's around my size, he's pretty solid. His dad owns a club. So even when everything was still supposed to be closed, we were able to get a pretty solid group of guys in there, and we were training.
Yeah, that's awesome. And man, Georgia wrestling's really come alive with, Morris Fitness and Terry Style. And I keep going. I've had a bunch of really awesome dudes on from there. So, well, thanks, man. I appreciate you going around and just letting us know what you guys have been up to. So,
I did help Daniel. I don't know if I could jump in, but I did help young Desario train in the pool. We were working on Greco, and I was able to take him for 5. I just wanted his friends to know this. He did go feet over head, busted his elbow on the bottom of the pool because I got him down so hard. So just want to point that out. Just so we're all clear.
Yeah. Oh, so you were thrown for 5 by Pops.
Yeah, that's what he thinks happened.
That's what he thinks happened.
I did lose. I'm not gonna lie. I did lose the match, but I did get at least one throw in there.
Oh, that's awesome, man. So, obviously, we're here for a reason, and to try to get your voice part. So first, Dad, up there in the corner, man. First, tell us kind of what happened, and then we'll go around the room and find out how you guys were contacted, how this went down, what your expectations are.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. We were actually on a mini vacation in New Orleans, and we got a text message. Jackson got a text message, a remind message saying they had to get on a video Zoom in 30 minutes. And I thought, and he thought, and I'm sure everybody else thought it was going to have something to do either with how they were getting back to campus and how that was going to work out, or we thought worst case was they were going to cancel the season. And I've never seen my young man so distraught when he came back to the table after the meeting. He wasn't able to speak. I quickly got on the internet and found out they had canceled 11 sports, including wrestling. Completely blindsided, completely blindsided and completely heartbroken over a decision that since has made less and less sense.
Wow.
So yeah, go ahead.
Man, let's go around the room. I will start there. Nick, man, so talk about it. Talk about that Zoom call, what happened, your feelings afterwards.
And Nick, you're on mute, Nick, but did they even let you know about that call?
Yeah, so I was actually on a vacation as well. I was in Florida, and it was my first day there. And yeah, the freshmen are in the group chat now, so I got the same text. I got an email prior to that from, the athletic director or provost or something like that, just letting us know that we had a Zoom meeting, like you said. And then, our group chat kind of came alive, and we were all wondering what that was going to be about. And, really the first time I had any idea that what happened now was going to be a reality was when Coach Borelli kind of broke the news a little bit, because really he only found out about 5 minutes before we did. And we only found out about 30 minutes before they made it public. So, we all hopped on a Zoom call together as a team rather than have to hear it from, the higher ups, which, they would try to tell us a certain story that may or may not have, facts in it, but, not really coming from the heart. So we all hopped on that Zoom, and he told us the news, and, ever since it's just, like you said, it doesn't really make much sense to us. So
Yes.
it's hard to wrap our heads around, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, talk about that, Real. I mean, what's your opinion on this whole thing?
It's a very unintelligent decision. But man, it was. I mean, personally, it was so incredibly devastating because I dreamt of being at Stanford, wrestling for Stanford, winning an NCAA title for Stanford since I was a little 7-year-old kid, not seventh grade kid in 7th grade. I actually got interested in Stanford in a funny way. I was watching a football game, and I like football a lot, and I like their jersey, so I was like, oh, that's my favorite college.
Hey,
And-
that's however it happens, right?
right. And ever since then, like I actually like learned about the school, and that's where I wanted to be. And I was just a boy, and then that over the course of, however many years, now the program being cut, it's like everything that I dreamt of happening, all my dreams, all my goals are just like, feels like they're shattered. They're not, life moves on, but especially at that moment when I got that call and they told us that, it just felt like they were shattered. And I was like, I don't know what to do, and man, it hasn't gotten better one bit. It has not gotten better. And it's tough for me because I'm in a spot as a junior that I'm not a senior, nor I'm not a freshman or a sophomore who has the ability to take this following year at Stanford and then transfer to somewhere. I know at least something that I would want to transfer to, like academically. So because no Ivy League schools allow you to transfer if you exceed half of your credits towards graduation. And I'm at exactly half of my credits. So as soon as I decide to go to Stanford for this fall quarter, and as soon as I take my class load, like that's gonna exceed my credits, and I wouldn't be able to transfer to an Ivy League school if I wanted to, you know what I mean? And maintain that high education. So it's a really, really good spot for me. There's just a lot to think about, it's a lot, very heavy situation.
Yeah, man. And I mean, I'm a parent and I'm hearing you talk, and yeah, I just feel the emotions, as I'm sure Tony would say up there. I mean, we live vicariously through our children. So the hurt comes from them, like I can hear it in your voice. Yeah, I mean,
Well, like it's more than that too, Daniel. As a parent, you support your children and you expect them to put forth a certain level of effort in everything that they do. And then when your kid becomes a wrestler, that's magnified, right? Like 1,000 times, because there is nothing more difficult than being a kid that wrestles. And then these guys, they did it, right? They didn't just do it, they did it amazingly well. And they didn't just do wrestling amazingly well. They did their academics amazingly well. These are not just 1%ers in terms of wrestling. These are 1%ers in terms of their academics as well. So these are the guys who have put forth so much effort and sacrificed so much of their youth so that they could have this opportunity, and to be promised this opportunity by a university who stands for doing the right thing, and then to have that taken out from under them. I'm heartbroken for all of these kids, every single one.
Yeah, it's got to be tough. Judah, talk about maybe give us your feelings.
Yeah, so I don't know. I just remember being in high school, or I never thought I'd go to Stanford. I mean, I remember being in high school and never thinking I was even going to go to college, because my parents said, like, we can't afford it, and we don't want you to take out a massive loan to go to college. So you're either going to have to get a really good scholarship or something. And so I was like, I guess I'm not going, but I guess I'll just kind of see what's out there, talk to some coaches, maybe something will happen. And so I, just emailing people, emailing coaches, seeing what's out there, what's going on. And then Coach Borelli responded to one of my emails. I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. I was like, but it's Stanford. It's that's an insane college to get into, And then I was like, I might as well send it. And so because I would get enough, I'd be able to afford that with all the financial aid and scholarships and everything. But I didn't think I would ever get in. And so this all happened junior, senior year. And then I got in and I just couldn't believe it, because I went from thinking I'm just going to be done with school now, I guess, and not go to college and find a job and do something else. Maybe coach wrestling or do something like that, to all of a sudden now I'm not only am I in college and I'm wrestling, but I'm at Stanford and I'm wrestling. It was just like, it was more than a dream come through, because I'd never even dreamed I'd end up at somewhere like this. And then to just kind of have that all just sucked away so quickly and without warning, it's just like, I don't know, it leaves a big kind of hole. It's just weird to have a program that, because our coaches are for us 100% of the way. And then we talk to other staff and, people in the athletic department. And it's like, we're doing everything to help you succeed. We got your back, all this stuff. And then all of a sudden you turn around and they're like, nope, nothing now. No support, no nothing. You're gone. It's just such a strong juxtaposition between having so much support and then all of a sudden just being the exact opposite. We want to disband you. We don't want you, here anymore. And we're not for your success in any way. And that's the part that really hurts. I don't know. That just feels like a sucker punch, So.
Yeah, I hear you. And so Gabe, I know you're looking at us sideways now, but that's okay. We can still see you. And then we'll get over to Jackson and follow up on what his dad said about when they were on vacation. But yeah, tell us your feeling, Gabe.
Yeah, so I was out wrestling with some buddies when I got that same email text about the 30-minute Zoom call, 30 minutes up on the Zoom call. So kind of random, didn't really know what it was about or anything. So yeah, later before that call, we got a text from Borelli to hop on our own team call so he could tell us what was going on. So I hopped on that. He delivered the news, kind of told us what was happening. Yeah, definitely. It was pretty interesting, crazy, kind of like real. Always wanted to go to Stanford when I was little. My dad wrestled there and was an alum there. So, yeah, it was always an option and kind of like that goal when you're a little kid. Yeah, so even, after that, I got the news. I called my dad, and he took it pretty hard too. Just like what are these guys thinking? Doesn't make sense. Same as everyone else, but yeah, hit a little more home just because my dad's been a part of the program forever. I've been going in the room since I was 7 years old, a little kid rolling around, messing with my dad, who has always been a part of the institution, supporting and everything as an alum. So, yeah, just crazy. Just trying to figure out kind of same as everyone else what to do with the degree. Same stuff, being a junior. It's interesting because if we stick around this year, then I cut it. I would only have a quarter to maybe 2 quarters left to get my degree at Stanford. So that 5th year and then that senior year, I'd be pretty open. So it'd be interesting, if I transferred out those credits and everything, how that works. But, it's still, it's like Stanford. You don't transfer out of there. It's a kind of once in a lifetime opportunity. So it'll be interesting, see how it all plays out. But, yeah, it's pretty heartbreaking and kind of a sucky situation that we've been put into, but as always, we'll face it and figure it out in the end. So
Yeah, I'm fully confident that all of you guys will, no matter what happens here, still kick ass in life. Jackson, what's up, man? I know your dad had mentioned that you guys were on vacation and then you got that call, and then as soon as you hung up, you were just like a vacuum cleaner sucked the air out of you. I mean, that had to be tough. You're enjoying vacation, right? You don't expect bad news on vacation.
Yeah, I mean, that definitely hurt. So we were sitting down to eat breakfast or brunch, I guess. But so we got that text and email, and I texted the group message asking what it was about, and like Borelli said he had no idea, and then like 5 minutes before we were supposed to hop on the Zoom call, he's like, "This is devastating news. We're not gonna let you guys hear it from them, so we're gonna make our own Zoom call." So I mean, I feel bad for those other 10 sports who had to hear it from the AD rather than their own coach.
So coach was blindsided by it too.
Right. Yeah, completely. And so he put together a Zoom call and like literally like 10 minutes, and we all got on there, and he like just told us, and then the most important thing, like he made it clear that like we were gonna fight it, that like a lot of the stuff they said, like they weren't gonna be able to back up, and that's proven to be true so far. And like that all of our alumni are going to be able to support, and that's what they've been doing. So I think that, but I mean, regardless, like it was devastating. Like I didn't know what to do. I tried to buy a ticket to fly home, and I bought it for like I wasn't paying attention to anything. I bought it for like 2 weeks ahead of like that day, like when we were already going to be home for a while. So like I walked to the airport. She was like, "Your ticket's not for a couple of weeks." I was like, "Oh," and got back in the car. Just it was a rough couple of days, and like Real said, it hasn't really gotten better. I think just the shock's worn off, and now it's more like us trying to figure out what to do, like in terms of our own careers, and then like also how to help the program. And
it's got to be tough because like Real and Gabe said, you guys are so close to that end goal, which was that Stanford degree. And I know that reading some stuff, they said they would honor your scholarships or whatever, but it's got to be tough to be a young man torn between do I just say, okay, no more wrestling and I'm going to stay focused on getting that Stanford degree and then go back and pursue it? Because, it's not like you're at, not that any college out there isn't important, but they're not Stanford, right?
Right. Yeah, exactly.
For Princeton, a Penn, whatever, where when you get that diploma and you put it on your resume, it equals more numbers, more dollars, more everything, more respect. So, yeah, it's got to be tough to be a young man in your position, thinking, what do I do next? And I wanted to ask you, Nick, you're not even there yet, right?
Yeah, no, I'm an incoming freshman. So it's almost, there's a give and take, definitely. Not being there yet. I know all these guys. I know the majority of the team. And then I talk to the people in my class, but, the connection isn't exactly like super strong yet. But at the same time, there's a drawback to that. Like, it's kind of like a what could have been, I'm going into this year and there's already that sentiment of like, oh, this is our last year, possibly we have to fight, rather than, getting the full experience. And, that coupled with what's already going on, the uncertainty of, the pandemic and everything, it really just takes away from the experience of, getting out to campus, meeting my future teammates, and, just being able to enjoy that. So it definitely sucks.
Yeah, and Real, I know that you've had a lot of success in college so far, and you've kind of been the face since you've been there of that program. How difficult has it? Oh, there he's pointing to you. So I got to imagine you're kind of getting a lot of calls, a lot of messages, people asking you to come on the TV and do this. How difficult is it for you to kind of settle in and understand that you're kind of the voice right now because people want to see Real Woods and hear from Real Woods?
It's tough. This is the first time I'm actually doing something publicly outside of a post or anything.
Oh, well, I appreciate that, but I also completely understand.
It took me a minute to agree to something like this, but I mean, it's a lot. It's just, I don't know. I try to do what's best for me, and then do what's best for the program, do what's best for my teammates that I love, and my coaches that I love. And it puts me in a really, really tough situation in whatever I decide. I still haven't decided what I'm going to do,
Yeah,
and it's like a double, I don't know, double, it's like a quadruple edged sword everywhere. Whatever decision I do choose, it feels like I'm just, ruining a different opportunity, you know what I mean? And it's just tough. Like, but life goes on. You have to make decisions, like this. This is life. That's one thing that I have realized from this situation is like, this is what happens in life. No matter how big or how small, the magnitude is, these are the kind of things that you have to deal with and that you have to get through. And I have to make a decision on what I'm going to do and commit to that decision and not look back, So when I do decide something, I'm going to commit to that and I'm not looking back. And there's so many different routes that I could take, and I just, it's tough. So I don't know. It's a lot to say, but.
Yeah, I mean, believe me, going into college, I was looking forward to some more Woods Silva matches, but no shoes getting removed or anything, or coaches fighting, keeping it keeping it clean. But I remember watching those cool matches when you guys were younger, on Flow and stuff. You guys had some intense matchups, so thank you for those memories. I'm looking forward to seeing more from you. But I don't know who wants to answer, whether it's Dad. Did you want to say something, Dad?
Yeah, I just wanted to point out just a couple things. The first thing is, this is the hardest part as a parent to watch. Listening to Real, it destroys any parent whose child has worked and earned an accolade, because what Stanford has created is a lose-lose situation. There is no winning situation unless they reinstate the program, because here's Real's choice. He can leave and not get a Stanford degree, and he has to leave his teammates behind. He can stay and not fulfill a dream to be an NCAA national champion, which he absolutely has the potential to do. And so there's no win-win unless the program's reinstated for any of these kids. And it's so incredibly frustrating as a parent to watch all of these other people's kids go through this incredible amount of pain during a time, let's face it, Daniel, during a time when COVID has already taken so much from them. And it's just unfathomable, incredibly frustrating. And I couldn't be more disappointed.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, after this show, I think the anxiety that I'm having with my kids is going to go away, because seeing what you guys are going through is so minimal. Like, I have anxiety because my son has been upset because he can't go wrestle because we're stuck in Florida where COVID is high, and my heart breaks just because he doesn't get to see his friends. And then I'm thinking, here I am with 6 guys that are going through, and wait, you're 14, deal with it. You'll be better from it. So nothing what you guys are going through. So, but has and I don't know who wants to answer this, or we can go around the room, but has there been any follow-up? I know you guys said you got that 30-minute Zoom. I know you guys are in touch with Coach, and I spoke to coaches. Oh, I think we lost someone. I spoke to Borelli Sr. He was one of the first guys I ever had on the show, and I have a snippet that I took out of that and put on YouTube, where he was talking about trying to prevent this 3 months ago. And but has there been any follow-up with you guys? I don't know. We'll start with Nick.
Yeah, so I will say that the coaches and really anyone involved has been doing a very good job of keeping us in the loop, and just doing whatever they can to get this thing back. Like, we have team calls like every week, and already the coaches have split up into different like subcommittees almost that are in charge of, publicity, communicating with alumni, really just anything that we can do to attack this problem from every possible angle. And they're doing a great job of keeping the wrestlers involved because, this doesn't just affect us, it affects the whole program. So anyone who's been a part of the program in years past, they're just as passionate about this. So, just getting all those people involved and keeping us involved because we have, a certain perspective that we can share that may mean something different to the people that are making this decision that are higher up. So I guess the other guys can speak a little bit on what we've been doing, but we're doing our best to fight this. So
I understand, and it says Gabe got knocked out and can't get back in. I just clicked the link. I don't know. Someone text him, tell him to go back to the email link.
He said it won't let him rejoin. Like he's clicking it.
Oh. What was his?
Gotcha.
Here, I'll send him an email right now. What was his email?
GDINE at Stanford.
Hey, while you're doing that, and before Judah jumps in here to talk about what's happening with the wrestling team and the coaches and stuff,
I sent it to him. Sorry.
One thing that you brought up though that does kind of irk me is you said it. You were on Flow watching Reels matches, and Flow has definitely benefited from all of the kids that are on this team, but I'm not seeing very much coverage from Flow about the issue, and we haven't received much help in terms of just broadcasting everywhere about this atrocity that really hurts Flow at the end of the day because if other programs fall. And so I've been disappointed in Flow and has no problem showing all of these guys matches, and they have, thousands of views, but then no coverage. So I've been a little bummed about that, but sorry, I didn't mean to.
No. And, I've spoke with, NW, the National Wrestling Coaches Association, maybe not directly, but I spoke to like Coach Roger Reyna yesterday, who used to be the president of that. And I know that it matters a lot to them, and I know they've been involved in speaking loudly but I don't know what else to do other than make our voice heard. But yeah, I believe we should be hearing from Flow. We should be hearing from Track. We should be hearing from any platform that has the ability to speak. I'm nothing compared to those guys, but my first thought was reach out to you, Mr. Desario, when I saw you and I saw the thing, and I said, let's just anything to get our voices heard. But first things first, I did send Gabe a new link, so I don't know if that works for him. But Judah, I know we were going to come over to you, and what kind of follow-up has there been with this whole thing, or is it basically the same what Nick said?
Yeah, so kind of, I suppose two things. One thing which I found kind of really encouraging was the fact that, so as soon as we got all this news, our coaches and like basically all the alumni or so many alumni and donors just started reaching out immediately. And our coaches were basically on call with a bunch of different people for 6 hours that day, just trying to figure things out, different ideas, how do we manage this? How do we get the program back? All this stuff. And so, immediately when that happened, that's why I'm so thankful that we have just amazing coaches that are willing to make just so many sacrifices with time with their family to figure out how to save Stanford wrestling, to keep Stanford wrestling. And so that's been just really encouraging to know that it's really not just us. There's a whole army behind Stanford wrestling. It isn't just who's on the team right now. It's donors and fans and so many people that have invested time and money and really care about Stanford wrestling as a whole. So that's been really great. The AD or whatever had some sort of follow-up meeting in which they tried to explain how or why we were cut, which was probably the most awkward meeting I've ever been in my life, because they just gave the same answer over and over again, and to the question, they're like, and one of the frustrating things in that was they talked about how they were thinking about this this decision for 2 years, and you were like, why on earth would you not come to this? We could, because it's one of those decisions where it's like, if you don't put in the extra work to get better, and you don't end up becoming an NCAA All-American, NCAA champion, that's on you, because you didn't put in the work probably, or you didn't take extra time to do more workouts or do more this or that. Whereas this decision, you didn't even know, and you had no idea what was going on.
Isn't the excuse the effect of COVID and the having to run on a deficit and the lack of revenue because of COVID? So isn't saying this has been in the plans for 2 years just some sort of excuse just to try to soften the burden of not admitting
That's why
no reasons?
Yeah, because there was no if this was in the works for 2 years, then how come you didn't tell us, and we could have fundraising, awareness, something, because we have donors who are willing to really help us out here, and they want the program to succeed. Like, how come if we had known that, we would have started reaching out to them, and exploring other avenues and all this stuff. But we were given 30 minutes forewarning, and that's obviously it's just ridiculous.
I think so we sent out a public statement, by the way, today, and I think it's really powerful. I want to read some of it.
Yeah, please jump in, do your thing.
Yeah. So some of the things that Stanford said were the reasons behind the program being cut are exactly the opposite of what the statement kind of says, and it's the truth. So Stanford Wrestling consistently contributes to the all-around excellence of the athletic department and does so in a fiscally responsible manner. Our program won a conference championship in 2019, has achieved numerous top 25 NCAA tournament finishes as high as 11th, and concluded the 2019-2020 season with a national ranking of 14, with a 2020-21 preseason ranking of 15 and a stable of young talent. We are poised for an even greater future of success. In the classroom, we hold the longest streak in the nation for NCAA Wrestling APR Public Recognition Awards for 9 years, while consistently achieving exemplary graduation rates and GPAs. Equally important is the fact that throughout the years, many of our wrestlers represent the first members of their families to attend college, and our team contributes meaningfully to the diverse population of student athletes on campus. Stanford's unwavering dedication to both academic and athletic achievement is the standard that other universities aspire to emulate. The university's steadfast commitment to excellence in all endeavors is what differentiates this institution from its peers. The proposed decision to eliminate successful athletic programs is antithetical to this commitment. During challenging times like these, the Stanford we know would reinforce to the nation that comprehensive excellence and support for exceptional student athletes need not be compromised. We believe it is essential that Stanford refuses to relinquish that which makes it great and continues to support diverse pathways to excellence for all of its students. And we're asking for the university's leadership to come together and discuss and find a solution for this. And the fact that it really kills me, because the fact that they said that they've been, thinking about this and planning this for the past 2 years, how do you not go to the sport itself, and work and try to work with them as a university? If you're truly they just they just don't want us here? That doesn't make sense to me, because if they did in any way, they would come to us and try to figure out a solution. Whatever the problem is financially, whatever the problem is has to do with gender equality, we can find a solution. You know what I mean? We have those resources. We have the people.
And I've heard that you guys have been able since this happened. I've read somewhere or heard somewhere that you guys have been able to put enough money together from donors to fund the program to keep it moving forward. And why are people not reaching out? I mean, down the street, you've got Cal State Bakersfield, who has funded their own program that was being cut years ago and was able to keep it. So there's so many avenues that they could have went to say, hey, how can we keep this program? And then, is that true? I've heard that you guys have been able to already fund or get enough donors to come forth and say, we can fund this sport, and they still have said, too bad.
Yep. And according to the coaches, I mean, we're pretty much willing to do what, like, everything that they said, we're pretty much willing to have a solution for that within, like, our own means, you know?
Yeah. So
Daniel, right now, the thing we need most is for the athletic department and the university to let the program know what's the number. Like, what is the number? Is it $5 million? Is it $100 million? What is the number that they need to endow the program? And let us work to get to that. That's what Real is saying. We have all of those pieces, but as a parent, just let me throw this other perspective in. They recruited all of these kids, and if they knew 2 years ago that they weren't going to have a wrestling program, that's a violation. Like, that's fraud. Like, that's just, they've stolen an opportunity with full knowledge that they were going to discontinue wrestling. Like,
it sounds like complete bullshit to me.
I mean, you said it.
Can I say that? I don't go to Stanford. Sounds like it's complete bullshit. And it's just some backdoor way to try to soften a blow to say, oh, well, we were going to do this anyway. Just be honest, be forward. And then also you're saying, hey, we're going to let you do another year of wrestling and then you're done. Well, how the hell are you guys going to come into the season with your mind right and your mind prepared to go to battle every day to be the greatest athlete you can be, thinking, why? So now what do you guys do? Like, tell these kids if they're going to be there or not, if there's going to be a program or not, if they can fund the program or not, because they need to have time to find a new home or decide if they're going to stay. They've got decisions to make. So someone needs to get into a room and have this, kind of laid out sooner than later. I mean, Jackson, what are your thoughts on everything? And, what kind of has been said to you and what's next here?
Yeah, I mean, right now, luckily, I'm not in the same position as like Real and the other juniors where I need to make a decision this year or before this year starts. So I'm really, really thankful for that. So as of right now, my plans are to stay at Stanford for this year and see what happens. And hopefully by the end of the year, I'll be able to make a decision. And it's like one of the things, like, I think them giving us this year is almost like a little cheap, just because the likelihood of anybody being able to compete in any sports this year is pretty low. And so I feel like that's almost like they're like, well, we're not going to spend any money on you this year anyway, so we might as well keep
so
it.
it's kind of like, we're going to give you another year, but they know that it might not be a full year. It might not have all the sports, so they might not have to fund it fully. So they're trying to make it sound like they're doing you a favor.
Right, when they're really not going out of their way at all. But so that's a little upsetting. I'm definitely thankful that we have this year, but I feel like this year to be the extra year, they should give us 2 extra years.
How about this? They've been thinking about it for 2 years. How about 2 years ago?
They say 3 years.
Say, all right, 3, or maybe just add a year in there. You know what I mean? Just for the kids, just to uphold your promises for the kids that you recruited.
At an institution
I think there's a lot of different ways that they could have gone about it that would have been much more smooth. But man,
and you're an institution of excellence, right? You're an institution that does that. And I know speaking on what Judah said, what year are you, Judah?
I'm going into my senior year.
So, I mean, you
Right.
can't transfer, you can't really transfer at all, can you?
It wouldn't. I mean, I don't know. There's a lot of different things bouncing through my head, but I think I've reached a decision where I'm gonna definitely stay for this year and finish it out. I mean, there's some other things that I'm also considering because I'll probably take 5 years to graduate anyway, just because of the track I'm on with my degree and everything. And one of the things you can do at Stanford is if you've gone there for 2 years or attended 2 years at the university, you can take a leave of absence and then come back at any time and finish your degree. So that's always a possibility as well of leaving and coming back at a later time and getting that degree. So things to
And
consider.
sorry, I thought you were done. I apologize.
No, you're fine. Go ahead.
Sometimes there's a delay, so my bad. Yeah, I mean, and well said, but like the guys, and I don't know what happened to our buddy Gabe here. All I have is this little phone thing, but somebody like yourself, Real, who's already at that cusp, if you don't make do you have to make a decision sooner than later? If you go into your next courses and you decide to stay this coming year, you have to stay through college, or what kind of position does that put you in?
Yep. So, like I said, with the whole like Ivy League situation, there's that, and then there's also there's also like, so when you transfer schools, not all of your credits transfer, and for my plan, I had it all set up with all my classes that I was going to take at Stanford for the following 3 years, and it was going to set myself up to apply to med school afterward, and having to transfer, it's going to make everything so much more tough. Organizing that, because it was already going to be a difficult course load, a difficult, route, but now I'm having to transfer, and then some of those credits might not be able to transfer, and then I'm getting behind even more, and it was already a very tight load that was reasonable that I thought that I could get through, so it really just sets myself up for a brutal situation academically if I want to do, and I do want to continue my plan to go to med school afterward. So it's just made a lot of things difficult, and if I do decide to transfer now, that would help me because wherever I do transfer, I can set that up early on. You know what I mean? Set up my whatever my future courses and what I need to get done to go to med school after. And if I wait this following year, I won't have the opportunity to even decide if Ivy League is an option for me. And then on the second hand, like, I don't know if the classes I might be taking might not be able to transfer or whatever, like there's just a lot to go into it, especially academically.
Yeah, it kind of sucks. Nick, you're an incoming freshman. Are they still honoring whatever they've offered you? Are they still allowing you to, if you want to pursue the education, offering the monies or whatever that they've offered you? And as an incoming freshman, are you torn between staying committed and maybe hearing what they have to say or moving on?
Yeah, so they are they're honoring the scholarship money that they offered at the beginning, which almost feels like wrong to me because I'm not expected to compete, but I'm still getting the same money anyways. So, that is another thing that just doesn't make much sense to me at all. How you would continue to fund athletes that you made a promise to and then not expect them to hold up their end of the bargain. Like, I don't get how that makes any fiscal sense to them. So for me, it's just like, why would I don't know. It's very confusing why I would be getting money and then not also have to wrestle. So.
Yeah, because part of funding the program is scholarship money, right? So if they're still saying, hey, we're going to honor all the wrestling team scholarship money, but we're not going to have to sponsor the program. Isn't that part of the revenue that's causing them to say we need to cut back?
Exactly. Yeah, that's why, it doesn't make any sense to me at all.
Interesting. So, I mean, what's the next step? Is there some sort of commitment to you guys as saying, hey, or is it just, hey, it's 2021 and that's it? Or are we back in conversation? Have they said, don't make a decision yet, we may get this thing turned around? Are they willing to, like Tony said up there, are they willing to give you guys a number and give you an opportunity? Or have they just cut the umbilical cord totally and left you guys out in the ocean?
That's what they're trying.
Yeah, as of right now, they said no amount of money. They said there is no number.
Yep.
So,
But that's the whole public statement. That's what that's for, is to try to get them to talk with us and work with us to figure out a number.
Our coaches kind of think of it as a marathon, not a sprint. You're not going to be able to change their mind in the first month or two or whatever. It's going to be a long kind of haul or push to get them to give us a number or something like that.
Yeah, but I mean, they've got to understand they're not, whoever's running programs at Stanford, they're not idiots. So they've got to understand that we have, well, you know what I mean, right? When I say idiots, but I mean, obviously they have some sort of proper education and understanding that there's young men that have to make a decision, and you're putting them in a position where they need to know sooner than later so they can kind of prepare for their future. So,
and I've talked.
Yeah.
I mean, to speak
I
on
was
their.
gonna say, yeah, Gabe's back. I made it. But I was going to say, because I was talking with some coaches, that's more than kind of just a money thing, too, at this point, with like trying to get a number to reach or whatnot for them to tell us. More than just that. Like, I was talking to one of my coaches, and he said back in the day, like Nebraska Kearney or Nebraska Omaha, I think it was D2 team national champions in wrestling. And that night, right after they won the title, he got the call from their athletic director that they were cutting the program. So it's kind of like just that thing, like it's much more than just like, how much success we're having or amount of money that we can raise. It's much more than that. So we got to figure out, kind of get in their heads to figure out, what are you guys thinking? What really is the process on why you chose to cut Stanford wrestling, kind of thing?
yeah,
And that's where, Daniel, that's where my fear lies, because athletic director Muir has a history of doing just exactly what he's done here, and I can't figure out what's in his head. So he's the AD at Delaware, and these wrestlers can't really speak about this, but I can. He was the AD at Delaware, and he cut their cross-country program. They were already in compliance with Title IX, so it wasn't a Title IX issue. It was 12 athletes. The total cost of the program was $54,000. They raised that much. They raised an endowment in a matter of days to put the program back, and Bernard Muir just said no, and just canceled the program. And then he left about a year later. He was already in talks with Stanford. Left about a year later to come to Stanford. And then my understanding from talking to others is the minute he came onto Stanford's campus, he was asking big donors if they would be okay or how they felt about all of the sports that Stanford had. So it becomes this injustice, right? Because if it's money based and you're saying, God, we're screwed. I'm sorry, we're Stanford. We just have too much of a load right now, and we're not going to be able to make it. Then that makes sense to everybody, and we can raise money and we can maybe support the program. And if we can't, then we go. But if it's not financially based, then what is it based on? And how do we fight a battle when we don't know who it is we're fighting against? And so that's what becomes very frustrating. And then what becomes even more frustrating are articles that say this, with budgets under pressure, colleges cut country club staples like golf and tennis. And they're talking about Stanford cutting its 11 programs. And I look at these guys on this screen, and I look at the athletes that are part of the wrestling program, And these aren't country club kids. These are blue collar, hardworking kids from hardworking families who wouldn't have been able to go to Stanford except for wrestling financially. And I just can't figure out what the real reasons are so that we can at least have an argument or counter argument to bring the program back.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like to me, and I spent my whole life in the car business prior to stepping away to kind of be there for my kids to pursue athletic dreams and stuff. But it sounds like to me you have somebody who was about to get their pay cut, and their pay was based on the bottom line. And with the loss of revenue or revenue that was not coming in, so he's saying, okay, well, I don't want to lose my paycheck, but I'm about to start to lose some of my paycheck because it's being affected by here. So let's, for a lack of better words, let's cut their pay plan so that it stops affecting my pay plan, so I can still get the same amount. Does that make sense what I'm saying? So if I'm making, if I'm making $100,000 or whatever as a number, but now because of the economy, they're saying, okay, we can only pay you 80. You're saying, no, wait a second. I want to keep my 100. I'll just cut the pay plan a little bit so that you can continue to pay Paul, right? So there's got to be some of that going on, which is unfair. And it goes back to, out of one side of your mouth, you guys say it's about the kids, but out of the other side of your mouth, you're full of shit.
Yeah, and if out of the other side of their mouth they were saying it's about the money, then we would say, okay, give us a number so that we can support your salary and support the program. We'll do whatever it takes. We just want to wrestle. And that's what these kids are saying. That's what their coaches are saying. So now we need everyone to send an email to remind both the provost, the president, the AD, that Stanford wrestling is important, that it's what creates the diversity that makes Stanford's campus so amazing. And we need to counteract the message that all the kids that go to Stanford are rich kids who are born with silver spoons in their mouths, because that's not the case for any of the wrestlers that I know. Maybe you guys know, but
yeah, no, I mean, I think it goes back to where these people were fighting to get college athletes paid, because colleges were saying they are getting paid by scholarships, and people were saying, yeah, but they're bringing money to your program. And then they're saying it's about the kid. Well, apparently something crossed over there, right? Because if it's about them and it's about the student, we understand now more than ever that it's a business, right? You've just proved it to us, right? And we understand that, yeah, there's got to be probably some additions or subtractions that have to be made during tough times to be able to continue to move forward. But instead of just making a drastic move like that, why can't we bring, have a meeting of those 11 heads of those sports? I know wrestling is our sport and we're selfish to protecting our sport, but those 11 programs have students on them, and I'm sure you guys know a lot of them, and have coaches and have people that are going to lose their jobs. Why couldn't those heads sit down first and I don't know, I can't imagine they did, because there would be some sort of solution, and sit down and say, okay, here's our situation. Here's what we have to do. How are you guys prepared to fund your own program? Are you guys prepared to do X, Y, Z? How can we continue to make this work to get us through these tough times, but still not affect these kids? And, that obviously, apparently talking to you guys didn't happen, right? No.
Yeah. And I think like one of the bottom lines is like for us, like me, Real, like our class and everyone really is like, bottom line is we chose Stanford to get to the degree from there and wrestle there. And so like if we could get into whoever's ear basically states like can just give us the label to compete varsity Division I, on paper they can consider us a club team, no funding, whatever. But as long as we could just get that to still compete Division I, go to nationals, wrestle with Division I schools,
and then all this alumni money that we're going to pool up, just basically self-fund our own program. But just get that label from the school that can say, okay, they can wrestle Division I, compete at nationals, travel, but all the money, all scholarships, all payment, travel, it could just all be funded through the alumni rather than that money, going to them, helping pay for their salaries and all that, because they're already done with us. So kind of figuring out whoever can just give us that label of, like, you can compete Division I wrestling. That's it. On paper, consider us a club team, consider us a cup program, whatever, but have us be able to still compete Division I and be funded through alumni, pretty much.
Yeah, and I think that's well said. I mean, like I said earlier, I spoke to Coach Manny Rivera and Lightning Luke Smith, and I've heard what they're doing at Cal Bakersfield, and I don't see why that's not something that could happen here too. And then I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, didn't years ago, isn't that what Liberty did? They were Division I or something, and they broke away, and now they're a club team or whatever, but they still kind of compete at different levels. I could be completely incorrect, but there's so many options out there to wrestle, and there's so many open tournaments that I've learned about that you can do. Yeah, I agree. And yeah, I mean, I just want to say I'm just terribly sorry, man, and I hope that we can make a difference. I hope that you guys are able to still get that Stanford education that you dreamed of and still be able to do, as Gabe said, and wrestle. I mean, that doesn't seem like it's far-fetched to be able to still self-fund the program, get your education there, and then be able to compete at the highest level. So I don't see why that wouldn't work. So somebody out there maybe that's hearing this, that's up high in Stanford, let us know why that doesn't work. Let us know why that can't work. I don't see why it can't. These kids still want to wrestle. They still want to wear that S on their chest. They still want to represent you as a school. You're still going to get marketing. You're still going to get seen. You're still going to get kids out there that say, I want to be part of your program. So instead, you've got these kids that just have broken hearts, and their dream was always to be part of you and your program. And now you're just kind of sweeping them under the rug. And these are only 5 or 6. Or do I have 6 here? How many are on the team? 30? So, I mean, there's 30 of these kids that you're saying, we need to save money, yet we'll still pay for your scholarships, but we don't want to sponsor the program. Like Nick said up there, it's a little confusing too. So I don't know. I'm at a loss for words, but I know that people are behind you and people are pulling for you, and people obviously don't want to see this outcome. And, I hope to see you guys. Well, I know I'll see you guys kicking ass in life and taking this by the horns. And you guys are all wrestlers. So, the whole additive get up off the mat. But I know at your age, this shouldn't be something that you're having to deal with. You're just young, innocent kids trying to get an education to start life. So, from my family to yours, man, as a parent, I'm a little heartbroken for you. But on the positive side, man, just, you guys are young, keep your head up, get through this, don't let it affect the rest of your life. And let's see what happens, man. And if there's anything that I can do with my platform to help you, it's my pleasure. I'm not, I'm nobody huge, but we'll get some views out there. We'll get the videos shared. You guys, please feel free to jump into my Facebook page, World Wrestling Live, and share it. Post any of those letters or links on there. And I shared it already with like 18 or 20 rooms. So I don't know. Is there anything else that you guys want to say, that you guys want to shout out, that you guys want known before I say thank you for coming on?
I want to shout out everyone who's supporting us, all the alum, all the parents, ourselves, our coaches, our fans, everybody who's supporting us. Just want to shout you guys out because we're the people who are going to make the difference, if we can make a difference.
Well said. That's awesome. Anyone else?
Yeah, I think kind of what Judah said earlier, how this, how our coaches are seeing this as more of a marathon and a long effort. As the publicity and stuff starts to go down, we mentioned, flow and things like that. That publicity doesn't always stay, but the support that we are getting from people, like Rio said, that if that can stick around, then that's what will really make a difference. So just emphasize to those people that as long as they can stick around and help us, that really, really benefits us. So we appreciate that.
And obviously, Mr. DeSario, I see him online all the time posting on behalf of you guys. So that's kind of how I found him, and it's awesome. And I know it's tough to talk about, and I can hear in your voice that your hearts are breaking. But thank you so much for coming on. And as I said, share this anywhere, everywhere. Share the video in an email format to the AD. I don't know, do whatever you got to do, and just as best you can, keep your head up high and do your thing. But
Daniel, thanks for having us on. Thanks for giving us a platform and an outlet to not just express ourselves, but to try to garner support for Stanford Wrestling. We can absolutely keep Stanford Wrestling, but we need a lot of people to help us to do that. One thing that people should know is that Stanford Wrestling is well endowed. It's been well reported. There's a $27 billion endowment. And my point that I need to make to all of the wrestling fans is that if Stanford Wrestling can go down, anywhere can lose their wrestling program. And so can it be lost everywhere. So if you're a wrestling fan and there are 285,000 men or young men and young women who make up the wrestling population across the country who willfully choose to spend 6 minutes of hell on a mat for fun at the high school level, we need all of their help and support. And then we need all 71 Division I university college fans of wrestling to send emails so that we can save not just wrestling at Stanford, but wrestling, so that kids have an option after high school to continue to do the greatest sport there is. And we need everyone's help to do that. So thanks very much, Daniel, for having me. I don't deserve to be on the same screen as these guys, but to the fellas, thank you all for letting me be a part of you.
Thank you.
Well, and I appreciate all you guys coming on again. And let's do what we can. I'll usually at the end of the week, I take these links off and I'll put it on YouTube, and I'll put it on Spotify and iTunes. And of course, it's on Facebook on Ward Wrestling Live. So like I said to all you guys, feel free to go in there and share it, post it anywhere you can post it. And as soon as I get it onto YouTube and the podcast, I guess I can email a link out to all you guys. I don't have, the only cell phone I have is, or the only contact I have is Mr. DeSario up there. I can send an email to you guys. I can find you guys on Facebook Messenger or whatever, send it to you, or I can send it to Tony and Jackson and they can get it out to you. But somehow you'll have it. And hey, just like I said, keep kicking ass. I know you guys are out there doing camps and focusing on the youth, and keep doing the right thing. And God's watching. Good things will happen for you guys, man. And keep your head up. And from a parent to kids, man, I love you all. So you guys take care of yourselves, all right? And thank you so much again.
Thank you. Have a good one.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, guys.